Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new around here, I make videos for anyone who's looking to try and improve their chess in a club rating level, beginner level, any level really. I'm just documenting my chess journey, showing what I'm learning, showing how I'm trying to get better at the game and all of that stuff. So if that sounds interesting, please consider subscribing as it'd be greatly appreciated. In today's video, I'll be going over the anti-martial. I learned a couple lines today and I thought I would share them with you. I just want to say I do have a Discord server you can join in the link in the description. And we're almost we're very close to 200 subscribers, and when we do hit it, or hopefully we do, I'll share a game that I probably one of my proudest games that I won a prize for. So I'll make an analysis of that game when we hit it. But anyway, let's get into the video. I'm going to be looking over the anti-martial. So let's start with e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop b5, a6, bishop a4. And now knight f6, castles, bishop e7, rook e1. I'm going over this fairly quickly, just to Roy Lopez. b5, bishop b3, and now castles. And now when I was learning the Roy Lopez, I bought a book recently, and I was planning to book up on all the lines on the Roy Lopez. And I thought, okay, I'm going to look over c3, and then I'm going to learn all of them. First of all, you can come against the martial attack of d4, what, I don't know, may not be that pleasant to play against. And also after c3, there's about a million different lines white can go for. They can go for the chigorin, they can go for the Breyer. There's about, I don't even know the names, so there's way more as well. So there's just so many different lines white can go for. And obviously if you learn the lines, you can get an advantage. But I think just from a practical standpoint, if you're say like a club rated level player around my rating, I feel like it helps. It makes more sense just to learn one line. Objectively, objectively it may not be the absolute best, but we're not playing against. I'm certainly not playing against grandmasters or engines, so I don't think it should make too much of a difference. But maybe in the top level, it's avoided. I think in the top level, the anti-martial was played. It was played by Garry Kasparov. It's still played to the day. But anyway, that's my reason for playing the anti-martial. So here we go, a4. It's c3 would be signifying our opponent could go in the martial or could go into lots of other lines. But a4 is played here. And now let's see what happens if d5 is played. So after this, we go bishop d5, knight d5. Pawn d5, and now knight d4. We take, and here we just take, and we're up a pawn. And this position is just there's not enough compensation for the loss of a pawn here for black. There's not really an attack, so this is just not this is just avoided by the black side. And also if after takes, if queen takes, if queen takes, we can also go knight c3, and now we hit this, now we hit this as well, and it's just like, this rook is pinned as well. It's just not good. We win back the pawn. There's not enough compensation. So that's why after a4 it does stop d5. And now there's kind of three main options here, or maybe four. There's probably four main options, but three ones that I'll kind of go over. Yeah, the three main options. So first of all, just lay out the obvious. This is never played because you just isolate. Black would just be isolating a pawn. We have a nice pawn structure here. We've got the connect. We've got the free, and we don't even have a pawn island. All our pawns can connect. And black's just got this pawn, so it would make no sense to take. And so here bishop b7 is the most played. And now I've always wondered what happens because playing a4 is very new to me. So I was wondering what happens if b4 is played, and after d3, d6, we actually go a5 here. Because by playing a5, first of all, we stop knight a5, but the idea is to fix this weakness. It's a concept I'm currently learning about fixing weaknesses, and I'm trying to implement it a lot more in my games. Here, this is a weakness, and now we're fixing it so it can't support this pawn. So by isolating this pawn, we're making this pawn more vulnerable. However, this pawn may be vulnerable ourselves, so we do have to be careful, but that's the strategic idea. We almost isolate this pawn a bit. So that would be played if b4 was played, and the game can go on a bit more as well. Normally bishop e6 is played, knight d2, say rook b8, and I mean you can learn all of this, but I think from a strategic point, if you understand it, you'll be fine. I mean, it depends how strong your opponent is, but if you try on your rating, you're a bit prepared, you should be fine. Definitely don't have a worse position at all. So that's that. And now let's look at rook b8. After rook b8, I think you should just take and take. We get the open file now. And you just play normally. I'm not going to overcomplicate it. It's just take, you get the open file, right? And you just kind of play normally. You don't have to play normally how you normally play a Roy Lopez with just basic principles, control the center and all of that stuff. So that's that. And now let's look at bishop e7. What's the most common play? I do want to say knight a5 can be played, and we don't want to take here because I believe after takes, take, and d5 or something with bishop e7, this can get very nasty. And you don't want to do this, honestly. I hate playing in positions like that as well. So after say knight a5, we go bishop a2. And don't worry about this. These are double weak pawns, double isolated, and your bishop can move and easily hoover them up. And you'd probably just develop fairly normally here. So there's nothing too much to be said here. But knight a5 is definitely a try. Now after castles a4, the most common is bishop b7. What makes quite a lot of sense. And now after bishop b7, we just go d3. We just kind of just solidify the center. A d6 is played, and now knight b to d2. I did look at a couple games here. I looked at one with knight c3. One of the problems that with knight c3 is that let me just quickly play a couple moves. Yeah, so after knight a5, bishop a2, and say, I believe what's the most and b4 knight e2. After this, there is positional pawn sacrifices with black playing b3 and making our pawns doubled or closing off this bishop. So that can be not very nice. So that is one of the ideas. But actually playing knight c3, it actually can be good. I've looked at a couple games. I mean, I did look at a game from this, and I believe white exchanged off this bishop, had the two knights, and really controlled these light squares. It was a nice light square domination. So knight c3 can be played, but there is a bit of annoying sacrifices after this. I believe it's after bishop a2. This is quite a known line. Not right now, I'm not sure, but there is lines with b3, and say if you take, you give up the bishop, like this, and if you don't, then I mean your bishop's kind of trapped in, and rook b8 or something else can be played. So that's that. So that's why knight b to d2 is what I'll be suggesting, but knight c3 definitely can be played. After knight b to d2, so let's say I'm looking at a game from Alexander Grishuk, rook e8, knight f1. And also recently I played a line where it was similar. The bishop was on c5. It was my most recent video on over the board analysis. I played a4 and I tried to go with this knight f1 maneuver. My opponent broke in the center with d5, and I completely misjudged the position. I thought I was losing, but even if you play a4, these knight f1 maneuvers are still absolutely fine. Bishop f8, bishop d2, very normal. In case b4, we have pressure here. G6. Now an interesting move I've actually really never seen in a Roy Lopez is c4. You're just hitting this. And b4, what was played, now we go a5, we fix this weakness, that concept of fixing the weakness. And now after knight d7, maybe to go knight c4, here we have a nice move as well, we go bishop a4. So I've never, these ideas are very new to me. And we're also friending to take and take. So after say rook b8, knight e3, coming in here, after bishop a6, knight d5, taking, and king g7. Here, I believe, takes and takes, and we win a pawn. So I'm just going to show up to that much for this game. But I just thought I'd show you some of the ideas of how it can be played. And now, and also, if if knight c5 was played here, we could go queen h6, and say if this was played, then we can go. This is a disaster. So yeah, so that's really the anti-martial for you. That's really what I came up with because I didn't want to learn all the other lines. I thought I'd just keep it simple, learn one line, especially if you don't have loads of time to study chess. So just to kind of summarize it very quickly, I looked at line of b4, you go d3 and you isolate this. So there's a very common idea of here of isolating this pawn. If rook b8, you take, grab the open file. And if bishop e7 is played, the main move, you go with the knight d2 ideas. You can maybe even break with c4. If b4 is played, a5, you fix it. And yeah, so there's ideas like that. Also, knight c3 can be played. Normally, you might put your knight on f1, where it can come to e3 or g3. And yeah, that's really it. Hopefully you got value out of the video. If you did, leave a like, sub. It would be much appreciated. And yeah, have a good rest of the day.